I cannot believe that the first month of 2026 is almost over and it is time to pick out the books that I plan to read for February. And of course, because Valentine's Day is in February, I decided to pick out contemporary romance for my TBR. If you have been following me for a while, you might know that I picked 50 book titles that I put in a TBR jar, and these are the books that I really wanted to read in 2026 because I said that I will read them in 2025, but I didn't get a chance to. So out of those 50 books, I just picked out 7 books that is contemporary romance that I thought I would be able to read next month. So let's just go ahead and get started with the very first book. So the first book that I have for February that I'm hoping to read is Julia's Song is Undateable by Susan Lee. This is her newest published book from last year, and this is also her first adult romance book, which I'm super excited about. I've actually read 2 of her YA romance book last year, and Soulmates is my favorite one. I do like that better than the Romance Rivalry, which was her romance YA book that she published last year. But I am excited about this one. This one is about Julia, who is the CEO of Starlight Cosmetics. It is basically a Korean skincare company that she owns, I believe. She's 30 and single, and if you know anything about kind of like Asian American family, 30 is definitely the year that you're supposed to be already married and have your own house even. So I think her Korean family is just trying to meddle into her love life and trying to set her up with blind dates, I believe. And the love interest in this book is Tae, and I think he is currently unemployed. He lives in his parents' basement to help take care of his dad because his dad is sick. He just kind of become a fix-it man for the Korean community around town, but that is not a real job. And I think this is when Julia asked him to kind of coach her in dating. And I'm pretty sure this one has the reverse age gap romance where the guy is a little bit younger. I'm not really sure how much younger, but like I've mentioned in previous videos before, usually I don't really gravitate towards reverse age gap romance when the guy is younger, just because in reality I don't think I can see myself with a younger guy. But all of the books that have that trope actually has been really great, so I'm hoping this will be the same thing for me, and I cannot wait to read this. I actually pre-ordered this book last year and I just didn't really get a chance to read it, but I'm hoping that I will read it next month. So the next book that I have is Done and Dusted by Lila Sage. This is the first book in the Rebel Blue Ranch book series. I think I watched one of the YouTubers that I follow on YouTube. She was saying that she read all of the books in this series within a span of a week or something because it was that good. So it kind of piqued my interest, and I decided to also purchase all of the books in this book series, hoping I will get the same reading experience as she did, that I will love it, and that I will hopefully devour this book series, maybe not in the span of a week, but hopefully within this year. This is about Clementine, or Emmy, who has no idea what she's doing. She's accomplished everything on her to-do list. She left her small town, went to college, and made a career for herself by doing her favorite thing, riding horses. But after an accident makes it impossible for her to get back into the saddle, she has no choice but to return to the hometown she always wanted to escape from. Luke is Meadowlark's most notorious bad boy, bar owner, and bachelor. He's also the unofficial 5th member of the Ryder family. Luke is Emmy's older brother's best friend, so all of his life he's just been annoying her, pranking her, and all of that. And it's been years since they've seen each other, but once she walks into his bar and back into his life, he cannot take his eyes off of her. Against his better judgment, he wants to do a whole lot more than just to look at her. Emmy's got too much on her mind to think about romance, and Luke knows he should stay away from his best friend's younger sister. But what if Luke is just what Emmy needs to get her spark back, or will they both go up in flames? So I kind of love that this is older brother's best friend, or best friend's younger sister, I guess, and I don't know why it's always forbidden, but I cannot wait to read this. If you have read any of the Rebel Blue Ranch books, let me know which one is your favorite. I'm pretty sure this one has a pretty good rating as well, and I cannot wait to read this, hopefully next month. This next book, I know it's gonna be a little bit controversial, maybe, I don't know, but I plan to read Magnolia Parks by Jessa Hastings. I honestly just am curious on why so many people love this book series. I know this is about Magnolia Parks and BJ Ballantyne, and both of them are like rich and very affluent in London, I guess. They are kind of together, but not really together, and they always, sleep with other people to make each other jealous, and this relationship sounds pretty toxic, but a lot of people really eat it up, and I honestly cannot wait to read it because I want to find out for myself why this book has like a cult following. I know people like Magnolia Parks, but they also like DC Hates better, so I honestly want to read the first book so I can get into the DC Hates like story on the second book and I guess the fourth book. So we shall see what I think about this book. Hopefully I'll be able to read it next month. So the next one in my list is Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. I think this is the very first book that started the Addicted Calloway sister universe, and I think I've mentioned it before, but I read the new book series that they come out with, which is called The Cobalt Empire, I believe. I did enjoy reading the book, but I feel like I was missing some of the side characters' backstory because all of them came from this universe. So I decided to start reading the very first book in this universe just to get a better understanding of all of the side characters in that book. I think it's called Burn Bright. It was a very long romance book in my opinion, but I do enjoy the two main characters. But like I said, when I read the book, I just feel like I missed some of the backstory of the characters that are mentioned. Anyways, this one is about Lily Calloway, who has a big secret. She is, I believe, a sex addict, and Lauren, the love interest, his best friend, is a bottle of bourbon, so he is addicted to alcohol, and they basically are kind of together for like 3 years or something. They are basically together hiding their addiction from their families. I honestly just want to know what started this whole universe, and I cannot wait to read this book. I think I only have the first and second book maybe, and I'm pretty sure there are at least 10 books in the Addicted Calloway Sisters book series or universe. So if I do like the first two books, I'll probably will continue on with the series, so when the next book in the Cobalt Empire comes out, it will make more sense to me. The next book that I have is Funny You Should Ask by Alyssa Sussman. I've had this book for quite some time now. This one is about 20-something Chani Horowitz, and I think she is a journalist or trying to be a writer. She got an opportunity to interview this very famous movie star, Gabe Parker. I'm not really sure how she came about to spend the weekend with him, but basically it was just a very kind of like headliner, I guess, in the entertainment industry. So like everybody wants to know what happened for that weekend, but I don't really know if she actually write an article about that weekend or about the time she spent with Gabe, but that was like a few years back, or 10 years ago actually. It also has the current timeline where it was 10 years after that whole experience. Chani is divorced and she is in therapy. She's back in LA trying to become, a successful writer, but anytime she went into like a project or anything, everybody's asking her to write about that weekend that she spent with Gabe Parker 10 years ago. Honestly, I'm not really sure what to expect from this book, but anytime the characters of the book is in like the entertainment industry, whether they be like a screenwriter or an actor or something like that, or a musician, I just enjoy those stories so much. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to read this next month and that I will be able to read her other books, because I do have 2 more of her books, I believe. Okay, the next book that I plan to read next month is Swept Away by Beth O'Leary. I initially thought they were on a cruise ship, but it's actually on a houseboat. This book is about Zeke and Lexi. I think they met up one night and thinking that it would be fun to have a one-night stand. So they went back to Zeke's late father's houseboat thinking that they're just gonna do it for one night, have fun, and not gonna see each other again the next day. However, the next morning when they woke up, they found out that they are stuck in the middle of the ocean because nobody tied in the houseboat, so they kind of like drifted away with the wave or something like that. So they kind of have to figure out how to get back on land, and and I think things happened when they were trying to figure out how to steer this houseboat, I guess. And honestly, I'm just curious about what that's gonna be like, and I cannot wait to read this book next month. Okay, last but not least, I also have this really famous book, I feel like, called Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. I feel like when I first started reading last year, everybody and their mothers talk about this book and how this is a must read. So I was curious, and of course I decided to get them without really knowing what this book is all about. This one is about Macy, who is a pediatrics resident, and she's planning her wedding to an older, financially secure man. But then she runs into Elliot, who is the first and only love of her life. And of course, everything in her world is being shaken by her meeting her first love again, I guess. I guess this book will have kind of like a two different timeline, the then and now type of thing, and we'll see what is going to happen, if Macy might decide to go back to Elliot or will continue with her original plan to marry her older boyfriend, I guess, or her older fiance. I feel like when I was reading the synopsis of this book, it kind of reminds me of Same Time Last Summer, I believe, by Annabelle Monaghan, where the main character is engaged and then she met her kind of like old childhood crush or her old boyfriend from like her teenage year, and things got a little bit shaky from there. So we shall see how this would end up. And I feel like there's a reason why people love this book, so hopefully I will feel the same after I read this book, hopefully next month. Those are all of the books that I plan to read next month. I think I will be able to read them, maybe not all of them, but we shall see. I am super excited for all of these books, and let me know if you guys have read this book before.